As leaders from up and down the Americas gather in Los Angeles, one major topic of discussion will be the ongoing migration crisis. It's an issue that involves nearly all participants. Haitian migrants, for instance, arrive in countries as distant as Chile and Brazil to begin their journey northwards to the US, traversing a region where migration policy varies country to country.
Politically and diplomatically ambushing.
Arturo Sarucan, a former Mexican ambassador to the US, says Washington needs a more universal response to migration from Central and South America and needs Mexico City to help lead efforts to get there.
The dialogue on migration, which will be a centerpiece of the summit, certainly, has already been happening between both countries, which is the United States' attempt to frame the discussion and the conversation in a pan-hemispheric way. That is, it's not only an issue on the US-Mexico border. We had never seen in the history of the Americas so many migrants, refugees, and internally displaced peoples on the move.
While leaders discuss the issues in California, those working on the ground say it's one that needs a humanitarian approach. Gabriela Hernandez runs Casa Tochan, one of Mexico City's longest established migrant shelters.
No, para nada, al contrario.
The crisis is not slowing down. In fact, the tough policies of our regional governments are preventing them from seeing the humanitarian crisis that is happening. And it isn't solved by sending money to regions where people are fleeing to save their own lives. There must be a real change in these governments, with policies far more focused on the defense of human rights.
But creating a universal policy that all states at the summit can agree on would be no small feat, particularly when many of those present are countries with some of the highest rates of external migration contributing to the crisis.
It's a tough proposition, but I think that at the end of the day, it's not only a law enforcement policy, it's how do you hang on to human capital that these countries will need in the coming years to be able to tackle some of the side effects that the pandemic has triggered for many of the countries in the Americas.
With no signs of the migration crisis slowing down, political change from the few at the top may be needed as a first step to solving refugee problems for millions at the bottom. Alasdair, Baverstock, CGTN, Mexico City.